The rain hammered against the stained glass windows of street. Patrick's Cathedral like 1,000 accusing fingers, each drop echoing the frantic beat of my heart as I stood at the altar, staring down the aisle at the man who would soon own my life. Ethan Blackwood, the untouchable CEO of Blackwood Enterprises, waited there in his impeccable black tuxedo, his ice-blue eyes scanning the crowd with the detachment of a king surveying his realm, never once landing on me, the unwilling pawn in this corporate chess game. In that frozen moment, as the organ swelled into a dirge of vows I never chose, I wondered if love could bloom from chains, or if I'd shatter trying to break them. My name is Lucas Harper, and at 28, I'd always believed my life in the heart of Manhattan was a quiet rebellion against the expectations heaped on me by the Harper family legacy. We weren't royalty, but in the cutthroat world of New York real estate, we might as well have been old money tangled in new deals, whispers of bankruptcy lurking like shadows in boardrooms. My father, Robert Harper, had built our firm on grit and handshakes. But by the time I graduated from Columbia with a degree in architecture that felt more like a dream than a destiny, the walls were closing in. Debts piled higher than the skyline. Competitors circled like vultures. And Ethan's company loomed as both savior and executioner. It started 6 months ago, in the dim glow of my father's study on the Upper East Side, where mahogany panels absorbed the weight of bad news like they were built for it. "Lucas, son," he'd said, his voice cracking over a tumbler of scotch. "This merger with Blackwood isn't just business. It's survival." Ethan Blackwood, 35 and already a legend, had inherited his father's empire at 25 and tripled it by sheer, unrelenting will. Whispers painted him as a glacier in human form, brilliant, beautiful, brutal. No scandals. No softness. Just deals closed with a signature colder than a winter wind off the Hudson. And now, to seal the alliance, they wanted a marriage. Not just any union, but mine to him. A Harper daughter might have been the traditional choice, but my sisters were scattered, one in Paris chasing art, the other buried in law school. That left me, the quiet son who'd always preferred blueprints to balance sheets. The one who'd hidden his heart's true inclinations behind late nights sketching forgotten buildings. I said yes because love for family runs deeper than fear. But as the wedding march pulled me forward on that stormy October afternoon, regret clawed at my throat. The guest suits from Wall Street, socialites dripping in Chanel, watched with polite detachment, oblivious to the storm raging inside me. Ethan didn't smile when I reached him. His hand in mine was firm, cool, like marble. Ethan Blackwood. Take thee. Lucas Harper. He intoned, his voice a low rumble that sent shivers down my spine, not of desire, but dread. We were strangers bound by ink and ambition. And as the priest pronounced us husbands, I felt the first crack in my carefully constructed facade. Our honeymoon was a farce. A week in the Hamptons mandated by publicists to sell the modern merger to the tabloids. Ethan's estate, there was a glass and steel fortress overlooking the Atlantic. All sharp lines and echoing silence. He spent days in his study, phone glued to his ear, barking orders that made grown men tremble. Nights, he'd retreat to the guest wing, leaving me to wander the vast living room with its floor-to-ceiling windows framing waves that crashed like unspoken accusations. I tried conversation over dinner-stilted exchanges about the market, the merger's projections, but his responses were clipped, his gaze always drifting to some invisible horizon. "This is a partnership, Lucas," he'd say, swirling his wine without tasting it. "Emotions complicate things." By day 3, isolation gnawed at me. I was an architect trapped in a tycoon's cage. My sketchpad my only escape. That's when I met Alex. He appeared one morning in the kitchen, A quiet figure in a simple white shirt and black slacks. Sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms dusted with faint scars marks from some forgotten labor. Perhaps. Coffee, sir? He asked, his voice warm, almost hesitant. Green eyes crinkling at the corners with a genuineness that hit me like sunlight after rain. He was the estate's live-in servant, hired just before the wedding. Or so the housekeeper muttered. Mid-30s. Maybe. With tousled auburn hair that fell boyishly over his forehead. And a build that spoke of quiet strength rather than showy power. American through and through. With that easy Midwestern lilt that softened the edges of his words. At first, it was small things, a shared laugh over burnt toast when I attempted breakfast. His stories of growing up in Ohio cornfields that made the ocean view feel less vast. Never thought I'd end up polishing silver for the elite. He'd chuckle, wiping down counters with efficient grace. Ethan trusted him implicitly. I'd overhear my husband summon Alex for late-night briefings in the study. Voices murmuring low about contingencies and loyalties. It puzzled me confide in a servant when board members quaked at Ethan's shadow. But Alex never pried. Never judged. He listened when I confessed my fears over midnight tea. His presence a balm to the chill Ethan left behind. As the week wore on, Alex became my anchor. We'd walk the beach at dawn, shoes in hand, the sand cool underfoot. You deserve more than this, he'd say one morning, as gulls wheeled overhead, his shoulder brushing mine in a way that sent warmth pooling in my chest. I hadn't told him about the part of me I'd buried deep through attractions I'd explored in college dorms. Fleeting and forbidden, always ending in shame under my father's expectant gaze. But with Alex, words tumbled out. I thought marriage would fix things. Make me normal. But what if I'm just broken? He stopped, turned to me, his hand lingering on my arm. Broken? Nah. You're just human, Lucas. And humans, they find their way. Back in the city, our penthouse on Fifth Avenue became the new battlefield. Ethan's days blurred into mergers and midnight flights to D.C. Mine into redesigning his lobby spaces. A concession to keep my sanity. Alex followed us, installed as household staff, his duties expanding to personal aid at Ethan's insistence. It was odd Ethan, who barely acknowledged me at breakfast, would nod approvingly at Alex's reports on household efficiencies. Dinners were rituals of silence, broken only by the clink of silverware. I'd catch Ethan watching me sometimes, his expression unreadable, like he was dissecting a rival's bid. One evening, 3 weeks in, the facade cracked. Ethan stormed home from a board meeting. I ask you, slamming his briefcase on the marble island. Your father's meddling again, he growled, pouring bourbon neat, pushing for changes I won't allow. I stood my ground for the first time, heart pounding. This isn't just about numbers, Ethan. It's our lives. He laughed, a bitter sound that echoed off the walls. Our lives. This is business. Lucas, don't romanticize it. He downed the drink and left, the door clicking shut like a verdict. Alex found me later on the terrace, city lights blurring through tears I hadn't meant to shed. Hey, he said softly, settling beside me with 2 mugs of chamomile. The skyline stretched before us, a glittering testament to dreams built on compromises. He's wrong. You know, this can be more. His knee touched mine, a spark in the chill air. And for the first time since the vows, I felt seen not as a Harper heir or Ethan's appendage, but as Lucas, raw and real. Winter crept in with its gray skies and biting winds, mirroring the frost between Ethan and me. By December, our marriage was a headline fading from the society pages, replaced by holiday galas where we'd pose arm in arm. His touch as impersonal as a contract clause. I'd escaped to Central Park sketches, drawing archways that led nowhere, while Alex became my confidant in stolen moments lunches in the kitchen where he'd share recipes from his grandmother. Stories of lost loves that hinted at his own hidden scars. I ran once, he admitted one snowy afternoon, as we shoveled the penthouse walk, from a life that didn't fit. But running just circles you back. Ethan noticed the shift, his silences growing heavier. At a New Year's Eve fundraiser in the Met's Temple of Dender, he pulled me aside amid the champagne flutes and designer gowns. "You're distant," he said, his breath warm against my ear despite the crowd's roar. It was the closest he'd come to vulnerability, his fingers tightening on my elbow. "Is it me?" I wanted to scream yes, to demand why he married a stranger if not for power. But the word stuck. "It's us," I whispered. "We're ghosts in our own home." That night, as fireworks bloomed over the harbor, Alex waited in the lobby with a coat and a quiet smile. "Rough one." On the ride up, his hand found mine in the shadows. A secret lifeline. For the first time, I leaned in, our lips brushing in a tentative kiss that tasted of pine and possibility. It was brief, electric, born of loneliness, but it ignited something dormant, a flicker of truth I'd long suppressed. Spring thawed the city and, slowly, the ice around us. By March, 6 months into this charade, I'd carved out a routine, mornings with Ethan over coffee black as his mood. Afternoons buried in office redesigns where my ideas clashed with his precision. Softer lines, I'd argue, waving sketches of curved facades. People need warmth in these towers. He'd arch a brow, almost amused. Warmth costs margins. Lucas. But he'd implement Oni's subtle arch in the atrium that softened the lobby's edge. Alex wove through it all, his role blurring. Ethan delegated more to him, scheduling my days, even joining us for team dinners that felt less like interrogations. I fell harder, our stolen moments multiplying, a hand on my back during a museum stroll, whispers in the elevator about futures untethered. What if we left? I'd muse, tracing patterns on his palm. Built something real. His eyes would darken, a shadow crossing his face. Someday, when the time's right. But doubts festered. Why did Ethan confide battle strategies to Alex late into nights I'd feigned sleep? Why did their laughter echo from the study when Ethan's smiles for me were rarer than rain in July? Paranoia whispered in quiet hours. But love fierce. Fragile drowned it out. Until April, when the merger hit turbulence. It exploded in a boardroom showdown. My father accusing Ethan of sabotage. Voices rising like thunder over mahogany tables. I mediated, heart torn between blood and bond. But Ethan's retort cut deep. Loyalty isn't inherited. Robert, it's earned. He stormed out, leaving me to chase him through rain-slicked streets to our penthouse. Alex was there, towel in hand, but Ethan waved him off. Not now. For once. He turned to me, drenched and defeated. I didn't want this either. You know, the marriage. But your family. They needed saving. And I needed an ally. It was the first crack in his armor. A glimpse of the man beneath the CEO. We really talked until dawn. About pressures that bent us young. Ambitions that isolated us. I envy you, he admitted, staring at the skyline. Your sketches. They breathe. As the sun rose, something shifted. His hand lingered on mine. Not possessive, but searching. Yet betrayal loomed. Late May. I came home early from a site visit. The apartment hushed. From the study, voices, Ethan's, low and urgent, and Alex's, overlapping in rhythm too familiar. Heart slamming. I pushed the door ajar. There they stood, heads bent over papers, but it was the way Ethan clapped Alex's shoulder. A gesture of equals. That froze me. You've done well, Ethan said, keeping watch. Alex turned, face paling. Lucas. But it was Ethan's eyes, those green depths I drowned in, that mirrored the horror in mine. The room spun. Auburn hair. Scars. Lilt they clicked like puzzle pieces. You. I gasped, backing away. All this time. It was you. Ethano. Alex reached for me. Let me explain. But the man before me was both. A disguise peeled back to reveal the truth. The servant I'd loved was the husband I'd feared. Testing me. Guarding his heart behind a facade of service. The world I'd built on whispers and touches crumbled, leaving only raw, aching betrayal. Summer scorched the city, matching the fire in my veins as I packed a bag that June evening. The penthouse, a tomb of shattered illusions. How could you? I hurled at him, voice breaking over the suitcase zipper. Ethan stood in the doorway, stripped of his servant's guy's back and his tailored shirt. Hair slicked, but eyes raw with regret. I had to know. Lucas, trust isn't given. It's proven. After my parents' betrayal. The Empire. I couldn't risk another knife in the back. His confession spilled like acid, orphan young, raised by wolves in boardrooms. He'd learned early that vulnerability was a weakness. The marriage was strategy. Yes, but Mayhaid watched from afar, drawn to my quiet fire. Hiring Alex was his desperate bid to bridge the gap, to see the man behind the vows without the armor of power scaring him off. I fell for you as Alex, he whispered, voice cracking. But I feared you'd never see Ethan the same. I left for my sister's borrowed loft in Brooklyn, the bridge lights blurring through tears as Manhattan receded. Days bled into weeks of silence, me phone dark. Sketches abandoned. Father called, bewildered by the tabloid whispers of trouble in merger paradise. But I hung up, too hollow for explanations. In the mirror, I saw a stranger, the boy who'd hidden his heart now faced with its wreckage. Was love real if built on lies? Could forgiveness mend what deception tore? Ethan's messages came like rain texts pleading understanding. Flowers wilting on doorsteps. Then, one humid July night, he appeared at the loft, soaked from a cab ride. No limo in sight. I'm not here as CEO, he said, hat in hand like a supplicant. Just Ethan. We talked on the fire escape. City hum below us. His truths pouring out, the loneliness of command. The terror of loving a man in a world that still judged. I was scared you'd run from the real meth cold one. The broken one. I didn't forgive that night. But I listened. And in listening, saw the boy beneath the empire, orphaned at 12. Forging steel from grief. My own scars surfaced, the college flings ended in closets. The family dinners where I'd smiled through silence. We both hid. I admitted. Our hands entwining over rusted rails. But hiding ends here. Reconciliation was no fairy tale. It was work. Raw and relentless. August brought tentative steps, coffee in quiet cafes. No disguises. Just us navigating the chasm. Ethan stepped back from the board, delegating to heal old wounds. I redesigned our home, curving walls to embrace rather than enclose. Love grew not in grand gestures, but whispers, his head on my shoulder during late movies. My hand in his at galas where we dared hold tight. By fall, as leaves turned gold in Prospect Park, we'd rebuilt. The merger stabilized, not on contracts, but trust. Father even softened, clapping Ethan's back at a family dinner. You too. You're good for each other. And we were. What began in chains ended in choice. Two men who'd disguised their hearts now bearing them fully. On our first real anniversary. October's rain gentler now. We stood on that same cathedral step, no vows. Just promises. I choose you, Ethan said. Green eyes, his true ones shining. All of you. In his arms. I found home, not in towers or titles, but in the quiet revolution of loving without fear. Life's blueprints shift, but with courage, they lead to light. The first year post-revelation stretched like a taut wire. Every conversation a balance between forgiveness and fracture. Ethan threw himself into therapy private sessions with a discreet Park Avenue shrink who specialized in high-stakes hearts, emerging with tools to dismantle his walls. One jagged brick at a time. I learned to serve myself first. He'd say over breakfast that now included laughter. His fork pausing mid-bite as he shared fragments of vulnerability I'd once begged for. I, too, sought counsel, unpacking the layers of self-doubt that had me equating love with performance. Our evenings became rituals of rebuilding, walks along the High Line where steel beams met wild greenery, mirroring our union structured yet alive. But scars don't fade without pulling. November brought a crisis when Ethan's ex-partner, a slick venture capitalist named Marcus, surfaced at a gala. All charm and veiled threats. You traded down. Blackwood. He sneered over caviar, eyes raking me dismissively. Ethan stiffened, old instincts flaring. But he squeezed my hand under the table. No, he replied evenly, voice steady as the Hudson. I traded up. Later, in the car, he trembled not from anger, but release. I almost let him pull me back. He confessed. I held him then, in the leather quiet, whispering, "You're here. With me." It was our first real test. And we passed. Not unscathed, but stronger. Holiday season wrapped us in forced cheer. Family pressures mounting like snowdrifts. My parents hosted Thanksgiving in their Greenwich Village brownstone, the table groaning under turkey and tension. Father grilled Ethan on quarterly reports. But when Ethan deflected with a genuine question about mom's gardenias, how do you get them to bloom through frost? The room thawed. Sisters teased me mercilessly about taming the beast, their winks pulling reluctant grins from Ethan. That night, as we cleared plates, he pulled me into the pantry, kissing me soft and sure. "Thank you for this," he murmured, "for seeing me." Christmas in the Hamptons was ours. Alanino staff. No scripts. We cooked disastrously at first. Ethan's precision yielding lumpy gravy. My creativity charring the bird, but we laughed. Wine loosening tongues. Under twinkling lights on the beach. He gifted me a leather-bound sketchbook, its pages whispering of futures. "Draw us," he said. I did. Later by firelight, two figures entwined against waves. Not perfect, but whole. Winter deepened our roots. January's board retreat in Aspen tested Ethan's new softness. Executives grumbled at his humanized approach, more input. Less edict, but profits ticked up. Whispers turning to nods. I joined midway, presenting lobby redesigns that infused warmth into cold spaces, nooks for quiet reflection. Lights that mimicked dawn. "It's like the building breathes," one VP remarked. Ethan beamed, pride unguarded. That night, in our suite with snow blanketing pines, we made love not as strangers or disguises, but equals, bodies and souls aligning in a rhythm born of patience. Spring heralded growth. March marked a year since the wedding, and we celebrated quietly, a vow renewal in our penthouse. Just us and a officiant who doubled as jazz pianist. No cathedral pomp, just candlelight and words we'd written. I promised to show up. Unguarded. Ethan vowed, ring slipping warm onto my finger. And I, to hold space for your storms. I replied. Afterward, tangled in sheets. He traced my collarbone. Who knew chains could forge this? Yet growth invites shadows. April unearthed Ethan's deepest wound, a letter from his late mother's estate, detailing her own hidden Lithia love affair with a woman, stifled by society, ending in quiet despair. Reading it by lamplight, he broke, sobs shaking his frame as I held him through the night. She hid like I did. He choked. I won't let fear win us. It bonded us deeper. Our shared queerness no longer solitary, but a bridge to gay men in a world inching toward acceptance, yet still laced with judgment. Summer sizzled with triumphs. June's Pride Parade saw us marching hand in hand, rainbows clashing gloriously with our suits. Ethan's speech to employees on inclusivity raw, unscripted during standing ovations, his voice cracking on love without apology. I watched from the wings, heart swelling. That July, we adopted a rescue dog, a scruffy mutt named Archer, who bounded into our lives like joy incarnate. Mornings became walks in Riverside Park, leashes tangling as easily as our fingers. By August, complacency crept in a subtle drift, busyness eroding intimacy. A late-night argument over Ethan's travel schedule escalated. You're slipping away again, I shouted, old fears roaring. He countered with exhaustion. I'm building for us. Doors slammed. Silence stretched. Archer sensed it, whining at our feet. The next dawn, Ethan appeared with coffee and an apology. We're partners, not projects. We recommitted, scheduling us time amid the chaos picnics in Bryant Park. Sketches of dream homes we'd one day build. Fall brought harvest. September's merger anniversary gala was a vindication, toast to synergy. My designs lauded. Ethan's arm around me possessive yet tender. Father pulled me aside, eyes misty. You did it, son. Saved us all. But it was Ethan's quiet, we did, that anchored me. As leaves fell, so did final barriers. October circled us back. 2 years from that rainy altar. On our balcony, city aglow, Ethan knelt not in proposal, but promise. Marry me again. For real this time. Laughter bubbled through tears. Every day? I said. In that moment, I saw our arc, from forced union to chosen love. Disguises shed for authenticity. Life's not linear. But with him, every twist led home, proving that even coldest hearts, warmed by truth, beat strongest. 2 years in, our life hummed with a rhythm we'd composed together, mornings of shared showers and stolen kisses. Evenings where Ethan's head rested on my lap as I read aloud from dog-eared novels. Archer had grown into a loyal shadow, his wagging tail a metronome to our days. Yet beneath the harmony lurked the undercurrent of our past, the disguise that had nearly undone us. Now a cautionary tale we shared in therapy, turning pain into wisdom. Trust is rebuilt brick by brick, our counselor would say, and we nodded, hands clasped. November's chill brought unexpected warmth when Ethan surprised me with a trip to Ohio, Alex's roots, his true ones. We drove winding roads lined with amber fields, the city boy in me awed by endless sky. His childhood home, a modest farmhouse sagging under ivy, stood testament to simpler times. Here, he said, unlocking the door with a key from his pocket. I learned to hide. Dust motes danced in sunbeams as he showed me his old rune-faded posters of baseball heroes masking shelves of poetry. We spent the weekend restoring it, sanding floors, painting walls soft blue, each stroke erasing ghosts. One night, fire crackling, he confessed boyhood crushes on the neighbor boy, stolen glances over fences. I buried it deep, he said. I kissed his temple. No more burying. Back in New York, gratitude bloomed. December's holidays expanded, hosting both families in our now cozy penthouse, where curved walls and warm woods invited lingering. My sisters arrived with partners in tow, turning the tree trimming into chaos of tinsel fights and inside jokes. Ethan, once allergic to festivity, donned a Santa hat at their insistence. Ho-ho-hoing with exaggerated flair that had us in stitches. As midnight mass chimes echoed from afar, he pulled me close amid wrapping paper carnage. "This is family," he whispered. "Ours." January ushered resolutions. But ours was evolution. Ethan mentored young LGBTQ+ entrepreneurs through a foundation we'd launched. His boardroom prowess now fueling dreams rather than devouring them. I taught workshops at Columbia, sharing how architecture mirrors identity fluid. Resilient. Students' eyes lit with recognition, mirroring my own journey from hidden to heralded. Spring's renewal mirrored our inner thaw. March marked Ethan's promotion of diverse execs, ruffling feathers but reaping innovation. A rival firm's collapse made headlines. Ethan turned down a hostile takeover, instead offering olive branches consults. Collaborations. Power shared is power multiplied, he told reporters, my hand in his at the presser. Pride swelled, not just in him, but us. April's bloom hid thorns when old wounds reopened. Marcus resurfaced, this time with legal barb slander suits over Ethan's gala retort. Courtrooms loomed, stress etching lines around Ethan's eyes. Nights. He'd pace, Archer trailing worriedly. What if it drags us back? He'd fret. I anchored him with facts and faith, lawyers on retainer. Truth as shield. Through depositions grind. Our bond fortified post-trial dinners where we debrief over pad thai. Laughter reclaiming stolen peace. The case dismissed. Ethan exhaled. We won because we're unbreakable. Summer's heat wave tested that. June's heat baked the city. Tempers flaring in gridlock commutes. A freelance project pulled me to Chicago for weeks, leaving Ethan to solo parent Archer amid deal deadlines. Video calls bridged Miles' tired smiles. My homesick heart but distance amplified doubts. Miss your sketches on the fridge, he'd say. Returning, I found post-its everywhere, doodles of us. Hearts in his precise script. We escaped to the Cape. Salt air healing separations. Bodies rediscovering in dune-shaded tents. July's languid days fostered dreams. Over lobster rolls, we plotted a vacation home upstate. Green with gardens like mom's. Space to grow old. Ethan mused. Sand between toes. Archer chased waves. Free as our futures. August intensified. A storm literal and figurative hit. Tropical depression flooding subways. Mirroring a tempest at Blackwood when a key deal soured. Ethan shouldered blame, retreating into workaholic isolation. I intervened, dragging him to the roof garden. Breathe with me, I urged, hands on his chest. Rain pattered as confessions flowed, fear of failure, of not deserving this happiness. You do, I affirmed. We both do. Dawn broke clear. Resolve renewed. Fall's palette painted progress. September's harvest festival in the village drew us into hayrides and cider. Ethan's laughter mingling with mine amid costumed crowds. October circled to our 3rd anniversary. A quiet hike in the Palisades. At a overlook. Windswept. He turned. 3 years of you best merger of my life. We exchanged letters. Words poured from souls, gratitude for forgiveness. Vows for forever. As winter whispered near, I reflected on our arc from altar strangers to soulmates. Disguises dissolved in dawn's light. Life's tempests come, but together, we weather them, emerging not just survivors, but thrivers in love's unyielding grace. 3 years deepened our tapestry, threads of routine woven with surprise. Mornings now included Archer's eager nudges for walks. Ethan's coffee ritual evolving to include my herbal tea. Steam mingling like our breaths. Therapy continued. not as crutch but compass, guiding us through micro moments, a sigh unspoken, a touch withdrawn. Communication is the mortar. We'd affirm, rebuilding daily. November's gray skies couldn't dim gratitude. Ethan volunteered at a youth shelter, sharing his sterino polish. Just truth. Hiding hurts more than coming out. Teens leaned in, mirrors of our younger selves, eyes hungry for hope. I joined, facilitating art sessions where sketches became shields against shame. One boy, sketching a fractured skyline, murmured, like mebroken but beautiful. Ethan's arm around my waist that night. We're paying it forward. December's magic amplified. We hosted a holiday orphan dinner for employees without familiestables laden with multicultural feasts. Laughter echoing off our warm walls. A queer couple from accounting shared their engagement. Ethan raised a glass. To loves that defy odds. Afterward, snow falling soft. We danced in the living room. Slow and swaying. Archer snoring nearby. January's frost bit. But resolve warmed. Ethan's foundation expanded. Funding scholarships for LGBTQ plus architects me fingerprints all over. A recipient. A trans kid from Queens. Gushed over coffee. Your designs inspired me to build boldly. Pride choked me. Ethan squeezed my knee under the table. Spring's awakening stirred ambitions. March's vernal equinox saw us breaking ground up stadium modest cabin. Our sanctuary. Hammers rang as we labored side by side. Calluses forming like callings. This is ours, Ethan said, wiping sweat. Dirt-streaked, smile radiant. Weekends became builds. Muscles aching but spirits soaring. April showers brought introspection. Therapy unearthed a buried fear, my infertility. Unspoken till then. Over wine in the half-framed cabin. I voiced it. Kids. Do you want them? Ethan's pause stretched, then softened. With you. Yes. However it looks. We explored options adoption. Surrogacy doors opening to dreams deferred. Summer sun gilded joys. June pride evolved. We sponsored a float. Rainbow arches echoing my designs. Marching. Hands linked. Cheers washed over us like absolution. July's heat found us at the cabin. Archer splashing in a creek. Our days unspooling in hammock reeds and trail runs. August's dog days tested. A health scare. Ethan's annual check revealing elevated stress markers halted our frenzy. Slow down. The doc urged. We did, unplugging for a digital detox. Phones silenced. World narrowing to birdsong and each other. In that quiet, we rediscovered whispers. Touches unhurried. Fall's harvest reaped reflection. September's equinox hike mirrored March's. But fuller cabin complete. Windows framing forests. October's anniversary found us there. Firelit confessions. You've taught me home is a verb. Letters exchanged. Hearts bared. Winter's hush invited vision. November's shelter visits grew. Our stories seeds in young soil. December's dinner swelled. Families forming amid twinkles. January birthed beginnings, adoption papers filed. Hope tentative as snowflakes. Spring's cabin blooms welcome possibility. Yet mid-year. Crisis crested. June's pride prep unearthed Marcus again now a blogger. Twisting our tale into clickbait venom. Blackwood's sham, from disguise to divorce. Hate mail flooded. Shadows lengthening. Ethan faltered. Old armor clanking. They're right, I am not enough. I rallied, public statement. Our truth unvarnished. Love like ours withstands storms. We posted. Photo of linked hands. Backlash ebbed to support. Community rallying. Summer healed. July's cabin retreat. Just us and Archer. Mended fractures nights under stars. Vows renewed in fireglow. Fall fortified. September's harvest. Weekend jams from garden yields. Preserving sweetness. October's circle closed our 4th year. Stronger. Scarred but shining. From forced to forged. Our love proved. Authenticity's arc bends toward light. Illuminating paths for those who follow. For years etched mastery into our marriage. A canvas of colors earned through trial. Daily devotions meditations shared at dawn. Breaths sinking like tides grounded us. Archer. Graying at the muzzle. Reminded of time's gentle theft. Urging presence. November's winds carried change, the adoption match our sibling pair. 5 and 7. Wide-eyed from foster flux. Home visits began. Our penthouse child-proofed with gates and giggles. Papa. The girl tested. Tugging Ethan's sleeve. His nod. Throat tight. Yes. My heart swelled. We'd named ourselves fathers. December's holidays exploded with tiny chaos decorating dough-fingered. Carols off-key. Families converged. Grandparents cooing over the kids' first Harwood ornaments, our hyphenated nod. Ethan's reading of "'Twas the Night Before" to rapt faces, magic made manifest. January's resolutions rooted in reality. We navigated parenting's plunge, sleepless nights, tag-teaming bottles. Ethan's board calls interrupted by crayon demands. Daddy, draw a tower. The boy insisted. I did. Blueprints turning playful. Spring's thaw mirrored thawing fears. March's cabin became family haven. Kids chasing butterflies amid beams we'd raised. Therapy adapted family sessions, unpacking their losses. Our gains weaving safety nets. April's rains nourished. A school play, kids as woodland sprites. Our cheers loudest. Post-show ice cream. Ethan's whisper, this is legacy love lived loud. Summer's blaze baked bonds. June pride included the little ones. Tiny flags waving from shoulders. July's beach days. Sandcastles crumbling like old walls. Rebuilt with joy. August's heat peaked with challenge, the boy's nightmares. Echoes of past hurts. Nights rocking him. Ethan sang lullabies from his Ohio youth. Voice cracking tender. You're safe now. Mantra against monsters. Fall's colors celebrated. September's back-to-school picnic. Parents swapping stories, hours of blended beginnings, earning nods. October's anniversary hike. Kids in tow. Found us at the Overlook. For years. Ethan marveled. And infinite tomorrows. Winter whispered wonders. November's shelter tales now included dad jokes from the kids. December's dinner. High chairs amid adults. Toasts to found families. January birth balance, nannies aiding. But us prioritizing presence. Spring's cabin weekends. Teaching trowels and tales. Yet summer's idle hid hurdles. June's custody hearing finalizing adoption stirred doubts. Are we ready? Ethan fretted. Courtroom solemn. Judge's gavel sealed. Harwood's. All. Tears flowed. Relief raw. July's vacation, cross-country road trip. Diners and detours. Kids wonder widening worlds. August's ease evolved routines bedtime stories co-authored. Dreams seeded. Fall fortified futures. September's harvest. Little hands in soil. Yielding lessons of patience. October's circle. 5th year dawning. We gathered leaves like memories. From duo to family. Our arc arced higher, love multiplies. Disguises long discarded. Hearts harvest rich. 5 years flowered our family. Roots delving deep into daily delights and disciplines. Mornings chorused with kid clamor pancakes flipped amid spelling bees. Ethan's ties knotted by small fingers. Archer. Elder statesman. Supervised from his rug throne. Tail thumps approving. November's gratitude journals filled, kid scrawls of daddy hugs. Our entries etching endurance. Shelter visits now intergenerational children sharing crayons with peers. Bridges built in color. December's Wonderland World. Baking fails turned fort building. Ethan's elf ears eliciting squeals. Families fused fuller. Siblings' antics bridging generations. January's introspection integrated. Parenting podcasts over coffee. We parsed pitfalls, Ethan's perfectionism clashing with kid chaos. Let go. I teased. Flour dusted from failed cookies. He did. Flour fights following. Spring's surge spurred school shows, girls' ballet. Boys' robotics fair. Our applause echoed pride. Post-event park picnics pondering potentials. April's renewal revisited roots. Cabin spring clean unearthed old sketches, our early dreams. Now realized in kid-drawn addendums, treehouses. Puppy pals. Summer's symphony soared. June pride parade. Family float festooned with handprints. July's campout. Stars scripting stories of constellations and courage. August's adventures. City explorations, museums marveling at mummies. Ethan's history buffs bonding over ancient queers. Fall's framework focused. September's school starts. Lunchbox notes are love letters. October's hike. Kids leading. Found Ethan reflective. 5 years miracle multiplied. Winter's weave warmed. November's Thanksgivings. Tables teeming with tales. December's drives. Lights blurring to magic. January journal journeys. Adoption anniversaries marked with cakes. Candles for wishes. Spring school plays. Summer swims. Fall's fairs, all threads in our tapestry. Mid-year milestone. Girls coming out curiosity. Innocent questions over ice cream. Like you and Daddy. We nodded. Normalizing narratives. Love's a spectrum. Ethan explained. Rainbow sprinkles symbolic. Another ripple. Boys bullying brush-taunts of two dads weird. School meeting. Our advocacy assertive yet kind. Counselor commending composure. Home hugs healed. Resilience reinforced. Summer salve soothed. Beach bonfires. Mores sealing solidarity. Fall's fortitude flowered. October 6th. Kids' costumes capering. Our duo dance in kitchen chaos. From forced vows to familial vows. Our evolution evidenced. Love's legacy. Layered and luminous. Lighting legacies. 6 years sculpted sophistication into our saga. Subtleties sharpening as kids kindled complexities. Morning's mature debates over outfits. Ethan's logic meeting girls' flair. My mediation mending moods. November's narratives nested deeper, journals joint. Entries evolving from gratitude to goals, kids charting careers. Us charting continuums. December's dazzle deepened, traditions tweaked. Kid-chosen charities caroling change. January's journeys journaled, family therapy fine-tuning. Fostering fluency in feelings. Spring sparks, school's science fair. Boys' volcano erupting acclaim. Girls' poem on hidden hearts, hauntingly ours. April's archives, cabin cluttered with kid crafts. Our old letters laminated lessons. Summer's sojourns, July's national parks. Grandeur grounding gratitude for grace. August academics, preteen pressures peaking. Talks on identity incubating. Fall's foundations, September sports. Cheers championing character over cups. October's odyssey, 6th anniversary. Kids skit satirizing our star-disguised gags garnering guffaws. Winter's wisdoms, November's volunteer voyages. December's dreams danced. January's jaunts, ski trips sliding into sibling synergy. Spring's symphonies, concerts conducted by young hands. Yet shadows shifted. Summer's storm, girls' tween turmoil. First crush confounding boy or girl. We listened. No labels. Just love's latitude. Feel it out. Ethan advised. His youth mirrored. Fall's fracture. Work whirlwinds Ethan's expansion to Europe. My solo exhibit. Distance dined with us via screens. But reunions reignited. October 7th, dawn deliberate, cabin retreat. Resolutions recited presence paramount.